Okay, welcome back to the Grammar Garage. Today we're working on a little tiny guy. He's a Emglo single cylinder, 30-gallon tank, most often seen on sprinkler systems. That's where you see one with a single cylinder. This is a 125 psi machine. If it's in a sprinkler situation, it'll be 20 to 40 psi. But you can see it's got the classic Emglo head, which is now Jenny. Sorry, having a brain seizure there. At any rate, no head unloaders. There's a spot for them to be machined, but there's no place for an unloader tube. So this is just a standard intake and discharge valve. And the problem we were having was twofold with this. One, we had a check valve that was bad, so it was leaking all the time when it shut off. And the previous owner's solution was to put a valve on there, so when it pumped up, he could just shut it off and stop that pesky leak. The only problem with that is when you do that, then your motor is trying to start under a load, and it'll typically go because it hasn't unloaded the pressure out of the transfer tube first. Anytime you shut a compressor off, it should go on an electric compressor, and that is relieving this pressure in this transfer tube. Otherwise, it's the equivalent of me holding onto the motor and trying to start it, in which case I can prevent this motor from starting just by holding on here to go but if I tried to grab it while it was running, it would rip my fingers off. So at any rate, we've done that. We've changed the check valve. We've corrected that problem. The unit still won't build up over 20 or 22 psi. And so the next part of diagnosing this is while it's running on the intake, and it could be a filter like this, or it could be a regular Solberg filter, whatever. But as it's running, you put a little bit of, you can use your hand and put your hand up here and see if it's blowing air. But sometimes for a visual, you can use a little piece of paper towel and you can hold it up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate this by running this. And if the valves are working properly, it should suck this paper towel in flat. If it's not, then it should be domed out and it should be kind of puffing air as it's running. So let me see if I can replicate this. There it's running. Sucking in against the head. The paper towel won't stay there. It wants to blow it off because there's no suction right here on the intake part of that.